Alrighty, I want to go ahead and discuss literal equations with y'all. So let's go ahead and start with the first problem. I have y plus x is equal to 5. Now my goal here is to get y by itself. This is what I need to get by itself. So what's in the way is this x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract both sides by x because, well, since this is a plus x, well, the inverse of plus x is minus x. So I need to make sure I need a minus x on both sides. So I'm left with y equals 5 minus x. Or you can rewrite that as y minus 5. Oh, sorry. It should be y equals negative x plus 5. Because in this class, we're trying to get things in the form y equals mx plus b. And I really like this order. That's why I switched around. So these two things here, they're pretty much the same thing, but just written differently. So let's go ahead and take a look at another problem. Let's do y minus x equals 10. So it's the same thing as before, essentially. My goal here is to get y by itself. This minus x is in the way. Since this is a minus x, the inverse is positive x. The opposite of negative x is positive x. So I'm going to add x on both sides. So I'm left with what? Y equals 10 plus x. But again, I like to write it in the form y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to rewrite that as y equals x plus 10. Okay? Go ahead and take a look at another problem. Let's do y plus 2x equals 8. Okay, so don't let this scare you. Again, we're trying to get y by itself. And this time we have, instead of an x, we actually have a 2x. But really, since this is a plus 2x, the inverse of that is a negative. So I need to subtract both sides by 2x. And I'm left with what? Y equals 8 minus 2x. But I can rewrite that as y equals negative 2x plus 8. Okay, again, they're the same thing. Don't be scared. Just take this, put it up in the front, and then add a plus since it's a negative, right? Because it's like saying 8 minus 2 is 6. But negative 2 plus 8, right? That is also 6. And my goal here is to write it in this form, to have that negative 2x be right behind the equal sign, right? Because I want to make sure it's in the form y equals mx plus b. It's easier for me to identify which one's the slope and which one's the intercept. Okay, the next one. Let's see, y minus 3x is equal to 2. Okay, so this is a negative, so I need to make sure I add both sides by 3x. And I'm left with y equals 2 plus 3x. Rewrite that, y equals 3x plus 2. Okay? And then, how about number 5? Y plus 2x minus 2 equals 0. Now, here's the thing. Again, my goal here is to get y by itself, but this time I have two things that are in the way. I need to make sure that I have all this on the other side of my equation. So let's go ahead and subtract both sides by 2x. I'm left with y minus 2 equals negative 2x. And then this minus 2 needs to go away. So I'm going to add both sides by 2. Okay? So I'm left with y equals negative 2x plus 2. Good? All right. Let's go ahead and do our last problem. We have 2x minus 3y equals 8. Okay. So here, this 3y, or this minus 3y, is right after the 2x, okay? I need to get this by itself. So I'm going to subtract both sides by 2x. Since this is a positive 2x, or a plus 2x, there's no plus sign, it's invisible, I can subtract both sides by 2x just to get this negative 3y by itself, okay? So let me go ahead and draw a line. This is going to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with what's remaining on the left side of the equal sign. So I need to put negative 3y, and then after that, this 8 minus 2x, right, they can't combine whatsoever. It's just exactly what we have been doing previously. 8 minus 2x is not 6x, but 8 minus 2x is 8 minus 2x. Okay? So, let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 3, because remember, negative 3y is the same thing as negative 3 times y. The opposite of multiplication is division, so I need to get rid of this negative 3y. So, what am I left with? I'm left with negative 3y divided by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is going to be positive 1. So positive 1 times y is just y. And then I'm left with this. Sorry. Let's write with blue. I'm left with y equals 8 minus 2x divided by negative 3. 8 divided by negative 3. Can I simplify that? No, I can't. So I'm just going to leave it as is. And then I'm left with this negative 2x divided by negative 3. Does negative 3 go into negative 2? It doesn't. But I know that when I'm dividing by a negative, right? Or sorry, if I have a negative divided by a negative, that's going to turn into a positive. So I have plus 2 over 3x. And I can just rewrite this as y equals 2 over 3x. And then since there's a minus sign here, I can write minus 8 over 3. And this is my answer. Okay? Can I do... How about... Let's go ahead and do one more. Let's say that's number 6 isn't our last one. Let's just do one more for the heck of it. I know this one's a little weird because we both have fractions here. Let's try to do one where we have one fraction and one with no fraction in terms of one equation. So meaning I have something like, I have something like number 7 here. 4x plus 2y equals 6. I need to subtract both sides by 4x. I'm left with 2y equals 6 minus 4x. But I can rewrite that if I want to as 2y equals negative 4x plus 6. Okay, again, it's the same thing. It's the same idea. We talked about that somewhere. Oh, I think I erased it. So again, 8 minus 2 is 6. Negative 2 plus 8 is 6 as well, right? So I'm not done here. I need to divide both sides by 2. Okay, so now I have y on the left side, and this negative 4x divided by 2. Well, negative 4 divided by 2 is just negative 2. So I can write negative 2 and then slap on the x because there's an x after the 4. Then I have this plus 6 or positive 6 divided by 2. This 2 goes into 6 about 3 times. So 6 divided by 2 is positive 3. And this is my answer.